Alright, so Digital Circus Episode 8 just got a trailer, and I am a really big nerd, and I love this show. So I decided I wanted to do a little frame by frame of it just immediately. My quality might not be the best. I can't fix that right now, so we're just gonna run with it. So I'm sure if you're a fan of the show, you've already seen it. So I'm not gonna play it all the way through because you can just go watch it on the official channel and give them the views. But uh, no, this trailer looks amazing, and so yeah, I wanted to do frame by frame. Also, sorry, the cursor might get annoying, but I have it up so I can draw attention to some things. Let me lower the volume a little bit. I'm just gonna let this first part kind of play. Uh, you can just read it. I mean, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory what it's about. It's about Kane and his kind of mental breakdown that he's been going through ever since what episode 3, episode 4 at this point, even episode 2. Um, and yeah, about how lonely he is and how he wants to make friends, but it's not um, really that easy for him. The one thing I do want to mention is that that also very much applies to Jax. I actually thought this was talking about Jax at first, but I feel like it's interesting that it applies to both of them. But yeah, so that's the beginning segment, and then now we're gonna start our little frame by frame. Okay, so one of the things I noticed was like this trailer is so well made and so quick, and it gives you a really good glimpse at the animation and just how much it's improved since episode 1. But you'll be able to see that throughout the entire thing. Um, so yeah, our first shot of the episode we get here, it's Ragatha, Pomni, and I think that's somebody else off to the side. I'm not sure though. I don't know what this white thing is. It might just be like a lamp or something. I'm not gonna read into that too much. So Kane seems to be, if you look at their motion here and his hand motion, it looks like he's doing the thing where he's dragging them to him, like when he snaps and Zubul comes out of the pot or drags. Did he drag Jax close to him? I can't remember. But yeah, he's doing that thing where he's dragging them close to him so he can talk to them. Yeah, he doesn't say anything here. And then we get this really interesting shot of what I find interesting about this is it almost looks like the main cast is being peeped on. Like, this is a very weird angle. It's very obscure. We're not even seeing the full cast. This is not like a TV show shot. This is a POV shot. I don't know if this is Kane or Bubble or some other character. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I just wanted to mention that. Yeah, and so we can see the main cast sitting down here, but the environment starts to glitch, and that's obviously what they seem to be looking at. Zubul and Gangle, at least, seem to be looking at. And it glitches so much so that you can see Jax. He even appears in frame through the wall for a second. Literally one frame he appears for. Yeah, and then so it keeps glitching, and then we get this other shot of Kane in his office and Bubble. We get a lot of shots of Kane in his office in this trailer, which is kind of bizarre. Also, another bee. If you're a fan of the show, you've probably seen all the bee symbolism with Kane. There's some in episode 7. There's some in the therapy scene with him and Zubul. Yeah, that probably means something, but I don't really know. I haven't really thought too much about that in specific. But yeah, so I believe he says something here. Surely they don't want to. Oh yeah, so this is when he starts talking about like, oh, surely they don't want to leave me. He's like, they don't want to leave me, right? But we get a few shots here. So we get this shot. I'm going in reverse right now. So we get this shot of Pomni looking like kind of like confused or maybe a little bit startled here, or just like not understanding what she's hearing, something like that possibly. So I don't know what that could mean, because these kind of shots you can't really read into them too much because the context of the episode can change it so much from what you'd think it would mean. So we're not really going to talk about that. But here we get Kane playing with one of those things you see at like the doctor's office, those little kids' toys with the beads that you roll along the thing. And this is a recurring theme throughout the entire show, is that the circus is very childish, and I don't think this necessarily means anything. I think this is just a set piece, but this is when he starts talking about, they don't want to leave me, right? So I don't know if this is going to come back later. I do think it's worth noting that maybe this is just me being dumb, but at first I thought this was a bomb from like episode 5 when they're in the president's office. But yeah, it's not. Those aren't wires. It's just the bead toy. Also the colors, red and blue, very prominent. Green though, that's one that we see a little often, but not nearly as prominent as red or blue. Or there's also yellow down here. That's also a prominent one. And this one, okay, so this is the thing that I've noticed with this trailer. It seems like we're going to be getting shots of, or a flashback or something of when multiple people join the circus. Because this stage, we've only really seen it in use when people join the circus. We saw it with Pomni in episode 1. She was on the stage. The entire gang was on the stage, if I remember correctly. And Ragatha's confused face here. This reads as Kinger introducing himself, being like, hey, like, this is the circus. And she's so confused. She's like, what's going on? And we'll see more of that throughout the trailer. Also, this was, I believe, the first screenshot we saw of this episode months back now. But yeah, so we get this little shot here. And then this is super interesting because this paints the circus in a weirdly realistic light. You can see it's kind of dark over here, which it never really is in the circus. And I'm going to let this play for just a second. So you can see there's almost like these light bulbs kind of... Yeah, it's light bulbs that are going out. They're presumably like, they're doing that thing where they're like supercharged and they break. You know when light bulbs go out in horror movies. But yeah, there's like one broken right here and then right here. So there seems to be this theme of the circus breaking down. And we know this is the thing. We know that Kane's kind of mentality can affect the circus. And whether that's because he's an AI or that's because that's just a general thing, because we know that the humans can affect the circus to some capacity, we don't know. But I do think this is a symptom of Kane breaking down as he seems to be in this episode. And we'll see more of this later. There's more effects. And we saw it earlier with the wall glitching. Also, bubbles. This is very interesting. I don't... These are the kind of background piece where it's like, I can't remember if these are usually there. Just because it's such a small detail. It's like, you're not thinking about the bubbles in the background, but I feel like I would notice if they were there. I feel like these are new. And this leads to some interesting things that we see with Bubble later on in this trailer. It gets kind of bizarre with Bubble, but let's keep moving. I can't talk, I'm that excited. Yeah, so these lights continue going out. We get, like, I believe this is a shot of, like, the castle area that we see in episode 6, where Zubul and Gangle are. And then I believe this is the top of Kane's office. That little, like, dome that's above his chair. But I don't know why we'd be showing this. I'm very confused as to what this could be. We do get this cloud texture reflecting off, but it's just a game. It doesn't really, I don't think that means anything. And it glitches, and then this hand that is also an object in his office, in the shelves, glitches. And then we get this shot. This is the shot that we saw, not the exact shot, but we saw Jax, Kaufmo, and a Ribbit holding hot chocolate together. I think this is oh yeah, you can even, oh my god, you can see Ribbit's silhouette right here, and I'm assuming this is either Kaufmo or the hot chocolate that Ribbit is holding. So we're getting a flashback this episode. Also worth noting, I just realized this adventure seems to have taken place in France. You can see the Eiffel Tower down here in this reflection. I wonder if it was like a France or Paris themed adventure. Yeah, so it seems like we're gonna get a flashback with Ribbit in this episode. Finally, everybody thought that was gonna happen in episode 7, and it didn't. Yeah, so Jax is obviously the one holding this cup of hot chocolate. I'm assuming Kaufmo is somewhere here. Yeah, so we're gonna be getting more about Jax, and I feel like that's pretty obvious. He's the main character besides Pomni. So yeah. And we just get this kind of slow zoom in, and then okay, so you can see that this is clearly an up shot. You can see the top of the tent, the circus tent right here. The gang is falling. I don't know what they would be falling from. I don't think they were like up here and they are about to impact the ground. And again, you can see more of these bubbles. We got Kane. Let me go back and see what he says real quick. Where am I? Oh. Oh yeah, that's just him saying they don't want to leave me, right? Yeah, so he turns around and he looks like very, I don't know, solemn this episode. But then we get the shot of Zubul running in the dark, which I feel like is really big. I think, I don't think this is the cellar. The cellar is full of water, but there is this running theme of Zubul and Kane not being able to understand each other, or at least not having this kind of mental connection that the rest of the people have. Because even though everybody knows Kane's an AI, they had somewhat a friendly relationship with him. But Zubul and Kane have been very antagonistic to each other almost the entire series. And so I can't help but wonder, is this a throwaway shot? Like one of the ones we got in episode 5 where it's like the intermission? Is this a shot that like, in all reality, doesn't mean anything? Or is this like, yeah, like, Zubul is getting messed up this episode. Like, is something bad going to happen to Zubul this episode? I really can't tell. I don't know. But it's very interesting to think about. Also, their parts, I believe, have changed. We've seen this before, this arrangement, but I think their arm changed. And then we get this shot that they all seem really confused. I guess they're looking up at Kane or maybe Bubble. Oh, this seems to be just after they fell. You can see the look on Ragatha's face, and then the kind of just the positions there, and it looks like after they fell. So they fell, and they look up at Kane, Bubble, maybe, I'm not sure. But what I find interesting here is everybody looks worried, right? I would assume, I mean, after last episode, yeah, duh, they would be worried about things. What I find interesting is Kinger seems to be in his right mind in a lot of these shots. And we'll see later, like, Queenie shows up. Like there's some weird things going on here. Um, yeah, but yeah, so this seems to be after they fell, and I just find it so interesting that Kinger's like randomly in his right mind, seemingly like from this point on, like seemingly from the last episode, he's been in like he's been his normal self, and then this portal appears in the background, so it sounds like maybe Kane is talking about sending them on an adventure or something, and then they look back at it and they're like, "What? You want us to go on an adventure?" Um, and then we get this shot of Ragatha looking at her hands, which goes back to what I was saying earlier with the shot on the stage about is this a flashback to when she first arrived? Because this seems like a thing where this could very much happen in, like, Ragatha just arrived, she's questioning what's going on, and this is kind of her first glimpse at herself. She's looking at her hands and thinking, oh my god, like, this is my life now. So that this could very much be a flashback. It seems like this episode is going to have a lot of those with Jax and Ragatha, and we're even going to see more Jax in a little bit, where Jax is doing the same thing. And just a frame, yep, there we go. Jax is also looking at his hand. But to me, this does not look like the same, oh, I just got here and I'm confused. This looks like, it almost reminds me of episode 6, where he had that argument with Pomni, and he was just staring at his hand. Excuse me, sorry. In episode 6, one of my favorite moments in the entire series is when he's just staring at his hand. Because he looks at it like it betrayed him. Or like he's at war with himself. He's like, why did I do that? And this to me looks like it could be a flashback to that point. Or it's a separate point where he's thinking to himself, why did I just do what I did? And I don't know. It's super interesting. I love Jax. He's my favorite character of all time. He's very wonderful. But this is just so interesting. I don't remember what comes up after this. Oh, so we get this shot of presumably the whole squad, because we can see 4 of them here, and I don't know why the other 2 would be here. But Pomni looks really sad, and they're standing in the dark. This reminds me of episode 7 when they're in the console room, but I don't think they would be in there. I don't know why they would be in there again. Because in my opinion, the console was definitely fake. It was never real at any point. I think it's crazy to think that it was ever real at any point. But, and, I don't know, like I said, it doesn't look sad, but it also doesn't look frustrated. It looks kind of mourning, kind of just, I don't know, inquisitive almost. And then Ragatha, again, she looks kind of sad, inquisitive. It's really interesting, the kind of shots that they're showing us. And then Kinger, once again, they're depicting him like he's in his right mind. But also this could be flashback, we don't know. Okay, so we're getting, I didn't even remember this part, but we're getting like multiple shots of the cast, all kind of just looking dreadful and sad. And then we get these shots of Kane's eyes. I believe he says something else here.
That's what this is. A big puzzle that I need to solve.
Yeah, so he says, oh, Queenie. We'll get back to that. He says, that's what this is. It's a big puzzle that I need to solve. I don't know what he's referring to. He might be referring to the situation, just like the general situation with him and the humans, or the circus as a whole. But then we get this shot of him and King are standing together. And the lighting almost makes me think this is a flashback. It's got that very, like, almost sepia kind of filter on it. It's not even a filter, but it looks sepia. And that's, something very commonly associated with, like, flashbacks and the past and such. But yeah, it's just Kinger and Kane standing there alone. And I don't like them being alone together. It scares me. But Kinger's kind of looking at the floor. It's hard to tell from here whether he's, like, in crazy mode or not. But Kane seems to be kind of maybe looking for someone or wondering, like, hey, where's everybody else? But he's talking. And then we go back to this shot. Oh yeah, the couch is purple. It might just have been the couch then. I assume what was happening in that shot then was these two were talking. This group was kind of talking about something, I don't know, kind of, depressing and kind of that Jax didn't want to think about, and Jax was listening to it, and that's the kind of face that he had while he was listening to it. Just, overall, like, sadness. Yeah, okay, and then here we go with the bubble imagery. Have we ever seen multiple bubbles at a time? We haven't. I would know. I would know. I feel like I'm such a nerd that I would know that. And what's so interesting to me is that Kane is popping them, right? But with the abundance of bubbles in this episode, I almost wonder if Bubble represents something more than the show lets on. I wonder if Bubble is kind of this aspect of Kane's personality or somebody else's personality, or just like maybe a bug in the circus or something that Kane can't get rid of. And this is a way of showing that Kane is trying to keep things under control, trying to keep a leash on Bubble, if you will. But yeah, he just goes and pops all the. I don't know. It's just so confusing to me. This shot is very, very intriguing, and isn't it? He's in his office as well. So I wonder if this continues off of the shots from his office earlier. And then here, we get Queenie. We have never seen her in the show before, so this basically confirms we are definitely getting a flash. I wonder if we're gonna get a flashback for every character at this point, because we're getting one for Ragatha. It seems. It seems like we're getting one for Jax, and it seems like we're getting one for Kinger. And so I wonder. We're not gonna get one for Pomni because we've been here the whole time. But I wonder if we're gonna get one for Zubul and Gangle. That would be so interesting. I would love to see that. But yeah, so Kinger looks also again here looks like he's in his right mind, which makes sense because this would have been when he first entered the circus, so he wouldn't have necessarily been crazy yet. But yeah, and then Queenie approaches with this kind of hand gesture that seems very confidently feminine, very like almost motherly, like kind of. I don't even know how to explain it. It seems like motherly, like a relationship, like they're already in a relationship. So this does give me the kind of vibe that they entered the circus together, or they somehow wound up in here together, and they didn't. It wasn't like they didn't meet in the circus. They entered together. They're already familiar with each other here. And so then we get this little short blackness, and then I believe this cuts to. Yep. So we get this red dot, and this very this background reminds me of the blueprints in Five Nights at Freddy's 6 on the computer. It's a very like tech background. It's very techy. It's very technology based, and we get this glowing red dot. And I mean, you've already seen the trailer. After this, we get a blue dot. And so throughout the series, we've seen these two contrasting colors, as I mentioned earlier with the bead thing. And what I find so interesting about this is that we really have no idea what these colors mean. There have been a lot of theories. Personally, I don't believe any of the theories that I've heard really. But these are the colors in Pomni's design. These were the colors of the buttons. They're also just in a lot of places in general. There's that one scene in episode 6 where it's drawing a parallel between Jax and Ragatha, and they're on different sides. One has red behind them, one has blue behind them. And so there's obviously significance to this. But the thing is, I don't know what this means. It just being a flashing red dot. I don't know what that's supposed to represent. I feel like that's something we're not going to understand. We're not supposed to understand yet. And then we get the shot of Kane, like, just kind of hanging in the air. And there's this weird electricity around him, and then the blue dot. So they're obviously drawing a contrast to these two colors, and kind of letting us know, like, hey, these things have two different meanings. I don't think we're going to figure out what that is until the episode airs, though. But I do feel like we're going to figure that out in this episode. So this shot just kind of lingers here, and Kane seems to be, like, maybe just glitching more, or he's, like, deactivated or something, weirdly. And then we get this shot of his arms kind of stretching out. He's grabbing some popcorn, almost like he's about to watch something. I believe there's dialogue here. I was wrong. But yeah, so... And then what I find super interesting is we get this little montage of, like, cartoon shenanigans. So Kane is just sitting back and watching. We've got... I was about to call her Ganger. Gangle, Ragatha, and Zubul here, just, like, looking at Kane. I don't even know what that could represent, but to me that seems like it could represent him reaching a breaking point and stepping back and just being like, I'm just going to watch things play. I'm just going to watch things happen. That's it. I don't care anymore. But I also don't think you would adapt that mentality because we heard the dialogue earlier about him saying, this is a puzzle that I need to solve. God, I'm trying to think about that. It's just so interesting. But yeah, so then Pomni seems to be standing up to Kane in some sort of way, and then he literally just zips her mouth up. Which I believe is also kind of a callback to the time he did it to Zubul, but Zubul doesn't have a mouth, so yeah. And we get this shot of, oh, I did not notice this in my first watch through. So he's talking to Kinger, and then Kane just disappears him. I'm wondering if he's teleporting Kinger somewhere to go talk with him, like have like a serious lore heavy chat. I doubt this is him just killing Kinger. I don't think that would happen. I don't think Kane can just kill people. That's one of the reasons why I don't think Abel was an NPC. I don't think Kane can just erase a person. I think that'd be insane. I don't think that makes any sense.
Hello, Editing Leo here. I wanted to clarify because I messed up. I don't think Abel was a human. I think he was an NPC. That was just a little slip up on my part. But no, I definitely think Abel was an NPC, not a human. And what I was trying to say was that, yeah, I think it would be crazy if Kane could just delete people. I don't think that's how that works.
But yes, so presumably this is him taking King or somewhere to go have a chat with him. And then we see this realistic car fall and crash. I don't even know what this could mean. Maybe this is just something like a silly glitch that happens in the circus or something, right? Maybe that's what this is. So I'm not going to theorize about that because I feel like that's something to just see in the episode, you know? So then we get this shot of the screen that just kind of appears in the circus. I mean, you know, things just kind of appear in the circus sometimes via Kane or whatever. So I'm assuming maybe Kane left when he left it with King, or maybe he put this screen up to like entertain the gang or something. But it's this very kind of like old-fashioned, like these are the kinds of movies they would have you watch like in like pre-kindergarten. And I don't mean like movies. I mean like, you know, you're in like school and they want something like vaguely educational, so they put on that weird one with like the talking math symbols. You know what I'm talking about, right? Maybe I'm old, but yeah, this reminds me of like those weird like early CGI movies you'd watch in school. They're also like these creatures are very Gloink-esque, but they're not Gloinks. I don't know what they are. I don't think it really matters. But yeah, I also don't. I wonder if there's actually going to be significance to this cartoon or not, because it could just be like a throwaway thing again. Maybe it'll be used for a joke or something, like the fish in episode 7. Not sure. But we'll just keep moving on. So, and then this is something that I find extremely interesting, because I personally believe that all the CNA stuff that Kane that was in the circus was Kane made it to kind of tease the adventure in episode 7, because we know he'd been teasing that thing since like episode 3 or 2, maybe I can't remember which one. But now I'm starting to think that maybe he was sprinkling a little bit of truth into that adventure, because why would we be seeing these again unless they were real? You know what I mean? And he even admitted to Jackson in episode 7 that like he kind of has this infatuation with this space. He called it the macroverse. It's also designed very like Stanley Parable-esque. I don't think there's really that much to read into in these shots, but you can just see more shots of this office space that we've been seeing since episode 1. I mean, really interesting stuff here. You can't really guess where that's going to go, you know what I mean? And then we get a shot of Kane kind of looking around his office, and then Bubble's there. This almost paints Bubble. I didn't even notice this in my first watch through, but this almost paints Bubble in kind of an intimidating light, with this really large grin, and almost like this is like a horror shot. This is a shot you see in a horror movie where a character is looking somewhere, and then they turn the other way, and then the character's just there. Like, that's scary. Huh. That once again adds credence. Like, I wonder if Bubble. There's something more to Bubble that we haven't seen. I believe that for like 3 episodes now, and I really genuinely believe that to be true. And then we get another shot. I'm trying to look at this painting in the background. It's just like clouds and like a tomato cut in half or something. And then Pomni looks kind of like disappointed, and then it zooms in on her. And then she seems surprised. Again, not much to read into there because that's something you can only understand with context, so. Huh. So we get a lot of shots of Kane in this kind of dark. Well, we get a lot of shots of just different characters in this dark space during this trailer. But I believe we've also seen Kane here before. And then I believe here he has a line.
Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, sorry for pausing it there, but he says, let's get this show on the road. For me, like, I can't even tell if this is like a trailer shot that they made for the trailer, and then the dialogue is also for the trailer, or is this like a part of the episode? Because if this is diegetic in the series, that could mean a lot of different things. I even had this theory once that that Kane knew he was in a show, and that everything he did was to try to make the show more entertaining. But I'm not entirely sure, because this could be non-diegetic. We'll just have to wait and see. But he just talks, and then I believe we get the date, March 20th. And then again, it's in that red text that flickers. Oh, and then it's blue. Also, there's purple in between. Oh my god, the symbolism. Like I said, if you're a fan of the show, you've probably seen a lot of videos. You have a lot of theories about the symbolism of these colors. But this, I think, is my favorite use of it. We all know about the symbolism between red and blue, or like the different theories about it. But purple in between them. This, to me, is a very clear call out of Jax and Pomni as almost foils to each other. Pomni being the red and the blue, as her, design. Her design is red and blue. And Jax being this purple that's kind of in between them. And then, purple being a combination of red and blue kind of leads into their designs again, where Pomni has both separated, but then Jax is a combination of the colors instead of them being separate. Again, I don't think... I'm so curious about Jax. Jax is my favorite character of all time, and I don't know why, because ever since the beginning of the show, and as each episode goes on, I have thought, okay, he's not gonna die. He's not gonna die. But I have this weird feeling that he's going to die in this episode, and I don't know why. I feel like he's going to abstract. I just feel like he is. But also, upon seeing the trailer, it does seem like they're painting Kane as, once again, an antagonist. I mean, he has been basically the entire time, but this seems a very clear indicator. Like, yes, like these episodes are going to be about defeating him, whether that be escaping the circus, which I don't think they're going to escape. I think that would be ridiculous. I also think that, like, they're kind of leading you into this perspective of, like, I feel like there's going to be a weird twist, I guess is what I want to say. Like, I don't know if Kane is going to be... I don't think Kane is a human. I think that's a ridiculous thing to think. It's stated that he's an AI. That would be such a weird twist. I don't think Kane is a human. And I also don't think Kane is ever going to abstract. I don't know why we just randomly say that he can, because that's... Only humans have ever been shown to abstract. I don't know why people think Kane can abstract. I don't think that's possible. But yeah, so I'm just kind of wondering what direction they're going to take with Jax, because at the end of episode 6, it was kind of unclear. It was like, okay, is he going to be like a villain, kind of antagonist maybe? But then episode 7 rolls around, and it wasn't like episode 6 never happened, but you could tell there was like a human connection between Jax and Pomni. They, despite what happened, it was very clear, at least to me, that Pomni had this very empathetic connection with Jax, and she kind of thought, like, yeah, he was lying. Like, obviously, none of that stuff he said was true, right? And I feel like that led a lot into episode 7's plot as a whole. And when I first watched episode 7, I thought it was really bizarre that Jax was just back to normal. But I kind of feel like... Also, I wonder what the shadow is. I think it's just the table. Oh yeah, you can see by the 2 bumps. It's just the table in the living room area, I think. But I don't... There's usually a rug here. I don't know. Maybe it's another character or something, but I'm not sure. But yeah, there's so many interesting things, and there's just so many interesting things going on with Jax, and I'm very curious to see whether he's going to take on more of an antagonist role, or whether he's going to kind of have this breakthrough moment. Which I think a lot of people, there's some people, not a lot, that kind of think maybe Jax is like a bully with a heart of gold. I don't think that. I'm in this weird spot where I feel like there's kind of 3 main camps of people when it comes to their opinions on Jax. Either he's Satan, he's amazing, or he's a bad person with, who has empathetic issues. I'm none of those. I think that Jax is... I wouldn't say he's a bad person. I would say he's... But I also wouldn't say he's a good person. I would say he's a decent person who makes very bad choices. But I don't think that makes him bad, because I feel like in this kind of situation, you shouldn't be expected to cope with that. I don't think you should. And obviously that doesn't make it okay what he does. But I feel very empathetic towards him. I think more so than most people. But I also don't I don't think he's amazing or anything. I don't think he's a great guy. I think he's exactly who he's shown to be. Which is what I love about him. But yeah, so I'm mostly just wondering, and then also this flashback is just this is a tool for something. This is clearly going to be a tool to show us something about Jax and his previous relationships. And I wonder if that's going to be the key into kind of cracking him open. He uses a lot of egg talk in episode 6. So I wonder if this is going to be a memory. Maybe somehow Pomni sees this memory, and it leads to her getting him to open up. I don't know. It's all very interesting. I just really hope that I don't know. We're at a point where I don't think anybody really knows how this show is going to end, and I don't think I really know how I want it to end. I do know that I don't want there to be an exit. I think if there was an exit, that would kind of cheapen the experience. And Goose has said, I think multiple times, if not at least once, she said that the meaning of the show is that there's meaning to be found in a stagnant life. And I think the way to do that is to have these characters stuck here. And maybe even to realize that abstraction is inevitable. Like death. But then just kind of come to this realization that none of that matters because we are people, we are here, we have each other. And we just need to live our lives and be happy. And that's what matters, is being happy in the moment and helping others around you be happy. And I just couldn't be more excited. I adore this show with my entire heart. And it's honestly kind of scary to think that, like, it's going to be over this year. I doubt they would make us wait, more than, what? This is coming out in March, so I doubt they would make us wait more than, like, 11 months. Like, this show is going to be over this year. And it seems crazy to think about because this is one of the few things where, like, I've been here since the very beginning of this show. I'll tell you my little story with this show. On day one, everybody was spreading that meme of the end of episode 1 with Pomni going insane. And I saw that meme everywhere on YouTube, on Instagram. My friends were sending it to me. I'm like, what's going on? What is this show? And so on the day after it comes out, I go to watch it, and I just like fell in love with the characters. And now Jax is my favorite character of all time, and this is like top 5 favorite shows of all time for sure. I love it so much. And I'm honestly really, really sad for it to end. I haven't had an experience with the show in a while where it's over and then I just kind of cry. But I feel like this is going to be one of those shows where it ends and then I just kind of break down. Like, the last time that happened to me was with Naruto or maybe like Attack on Titan. Something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, when the show's over, I'm gonna cry. I'm also a Deltarune fan, and I saw somebody talking about how, like, bro, Digital Circus might end before Deltarune Chapter 5 comes out. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's horrifying. That's horrifying. Because then you get the torment of this show ending, and then you have to deal with Deltarune and the lore and the character development, and it's just like, okay, I don't know if I can do all that. But yeah, no, I adore the show, and I adore the characters, and I could not be more excited for this episode. I think it looks absolutely wonderful. I think the last time I mentioned it was at the very beginning, but the animation just looks... What? The animation just looks wonderful. Like, the lighting looks wonderful too. Like, it just seems so good. Look at all this, man. And I love that they're kind of putting an emphasis on the cartoony shenanigans, especially during this part, because I feel like that's something the show really should lean into. Like, the zip, the zip, or like the weird shapes that people's bodies contort into. Like, look at Kate, like, what? Or like when they get balled up in episode 7, it's crazy. I feel like a lot of people have a habit of kind of overthinking the show in terms of the theory side. I think a lot of people want Soma theory to be true, and I think a lot of people want them to pull this big twist with the lore and be like, whoa, like the lore is crazy. I hate to say, but I don't think this show is that. This isn't a lore show. Goose even said it herself. Like, 90% of the show is character development and 10% is lore. And I feel like people are misplacing their emphasis. Like, sure, you can be curious about the lore and you can theorize, but for example, Soma theory, you got to think, how would that actually help? Like, how would that service the plot? In my opinion, it doesn't. Because then they just realize they're trapped in the circus, and they realize they're not even real people. And for me, personally, that cheapens the experience. Like, why should I care if they're not even the actual person? It's just like a copy. Like, I don't care. And so I feel like a lot of the theories are kind of misplaced. And I feel like a lot of the speculation should be centered around the characters and where the character is going to go and which character is going to do this, and is this character going to abstract, and what is this character's motivation? Because I don't think this is a theory show. Like I said, I just think it is a character piece. Specifically a character piece centering around Jax and Pomni and their relationship and these two kind of opposing forces pulling at each other. This kind of very empathetic, very understanding figure versing this very self-hating, self-deprecating, remorseful figure and the way that they interact. That also ties into the two colors, the red and the blue, constantly being contrasted, and it's like, I don't know. Also, random theory I just got. I wonder if this portal is going to send them all into a flashback, and that's why we're seeing flashbacks of the characters. Maybe it's like maybe Kane is like, go through this portal and you'll all revisit a previous adventure. But then how would we see Ribbit? I don't know. It'd be interesting. But yeah, that's just the thought that I had. Anyways, this episode looks amazing. I'm gonna shut up now. But I am considering about making more theories about this show just because I love it so much and I love talking about it. I mean, I didn't even plan to make this. I didn't think to myself, oh yeah, when the episode 8 trailer comes out, I'm gonna make a video. No, I just saw the trailer and I was like, okay, this is so good that I have to talk about this and I want to talk about this. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little dissection. I feel like I have a very good brain for these kind of things as somebody who is a writer and constantly consuming stories and constantly consuming animation and I really live for this kind of stuff. I live for character pieces and for these kinds of stories being told. And so I feel like I have a pretty good head on my shoulders when it comes to dissecting this stuff. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. And I like I said, I can't wait for episode 8 to come out. This thing's gonna be fire. We got what, like less than 2 weeks? No, we have 2 weeks as of today. Yeah. Wow. Anyways, I hope you all have a lovely day. Yeah. Bye.